All right, let's get started. Thanks again for joining us today. Capitals GM Brian MacLellan is on the line and ready for your questions. So we'll start with Sam Powell with the Washington Post. Sam, please go ahead.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Hi, Sam. Good. You?
Good. So you guys added Sherry to the team yesterday. Are you happy with where your current roster is, or are you guys looking to make more moves, either adding or moving internally?
I think, I think we're always open to making changes and improving. I think we'll get a better sense through camp where everybody's at and, probably evaluate there. As of now, I think we're happy. But I think we're continually looking at, possibilities through free agency or trade market, which we should be doing.
I guess just really follow up on Sherry. Where do you see him fitting in this lineup?
I'm not sure yet. I think we got a competitive situation in our bottom six. I view him as a middle six forward, add speed to the lineup, add some offense. I think he's a guy that the coaches can move around and be flexible with. He's played right wing, he's played left wing, he's played up in the lineup. So I think he's a real good option for us to give our coaches some flexibility in their lineup decisions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go to JJ Reagan with NBC Sports Washington. JJ, please go ahead.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for doing this today.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, you said you're open to more moves, but you're pretty happy where the roster is now. Does that mean that you're looking at Vitek Vanacek as the number two? Just where are you with the goalie search now that Lundqvist is gone?
Yeah. I mean, I think we've always been kind of going down this route we want to see Vanacek play. I mean, we're happy with his progress. We're happy with his experience. I mean, the only thing for us is that he hasn't played much in the NHL. Had a good showing in the bubble and the chance he got in. So I think all along we've been hopefully trying to get him some games, and he hasn't gotten them. And this should be a good opportunity for him to get some games and see where he's at.
Thank you. Mike Abraham, ABC 7.
Hey, Matt, good to see you. Happy holidays to you and your family. Obviously, I think it's probably the first time all of us have talked to you since what happened to Lundqvist. Just from a emotional element, because there's obviously a business side and the human element. Let's take the human element. I mean, when you got that news, take us through the timeline, how it all transpired, and just kind of the emotional human element, what that news meant to you.
Yeah, I mean, he's had I'm not going to get into the whole situation with his health situation, but he's had a hard issue all along that he's managed, and it's been fine. And, we anticipated that, it would be the same as what it's been for most of his career, all of his career. And I think it would, a routine physical that was an early physical turned into, well, we need to explore further what's going on with you. And I think, following along, our trainer, Jason Service, did an unbelievable job. Our doctors, the cardiologists, the specialists, it kept getting deeper and deeper. And as we went that far, Henrik got a lot more knowledge of what his situation is and where it's going and what his risk levels are. It's obviously we're all excited to add him to our team, and he was excited to come, and it looked like a perfect fit for both sides, and everybody within the organization, his family, everybody was excited to see how it was going to play out. And then I think we started, further exploring where he's at physically, and his risk level, is not acceptable for him to continue to play it for him and his family. So it's unfortunate. I think it was emotional for him and his family. I think we're grateful that everybody's grateful that he went down that road, that our medical staff, that our trainer, pushed him down that road and explored it more. And I think the result is good, that he's very aware of where his health is at. And, I think everybody's, a little disappointed that, we couldn't see what we could have done with him in the lineup.
And I want to kind of get your thoughts on the division alignments. Obviously, you kind of know the gist of what's going to happen this year, a condensed schedule, playing a lot of the same teams over and over again. Something different, something unique. Kind of your thoughts on the division alignment this year, Mac?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be competitive. Our division's tough. It's got a lot of good teams. It's going to be interesting how it pans out at the end. I think you need to get off to a good start. I think every game is going to be intense. All the teams are pretty close, talent-wise. Some teams are improving a little. I expect high-intensity games throughout the whole schedule.
Thank you. Tarek Al-Bashir with The Athletic.
Hey, Mac. I wanted to follow up on Ilya Samsonov. How is his health, and do you expect him to be 100% when camp begins in a few weeks?
Yeah, he should be ready for camp. I mean, he's been with us for our main group here skating for the last 6 weeks. Seems like everything's in order. He's handling that ice time very well, and we anticipate him being good to go when camp starts.
If I could follow up, who is going to be on your taxi squad? How are you going to handle that?
We haven't made any decisions on that. We're going to have training camp. Obviously we got a couple new coaches. We'll come in, we'll evaluate our needs on the taxi squad, make some decisions after training camp on who will be there, and go from there.
Just to be clear, I mean, would prospects like Connor McMichael be in the mix there? I'm unclear on the rules there.
Yeah, he's a possibility. I mean, I think it depends on. We're going to have him come into camp after World Juniors over.
Right.
I mean, he's going to have to go through protocol, so I don't know how much camp he'll get in. He's a possibility for taxi squad. We're not sure what the OHL's doing.
Right.
If they're not playing, if they're playing, that's going to factor into our decision. And maybe his performance at the World Junior, and when he comes in, is he, did he take a big step forward, or where is he at development-wise? I mean, we're going to talk about all those things, and if it makes sense for him to be on the taxi squad, I think we're all open to it.
Tom Galletti, NHL.com.
Hi, Brian. Just following up a little bit on the goalie situation. If your goalies are Samsonov and Vanacek, do you think you need another experienced guy to be maybe your taxi squad guy at least, or an option, or is Copley okay there? Are you looking at other options? Or
I think we're open, Tom. I think Copley's a good option there for us. As a number 2, I thought he did a good job for us. Vanacek's played well. I mean, we like. There are 3. We got Fukali as a 4. But I think it's evolving. I think we do our due diligence on the guys that are out there. And if we see somebody that fits, that has an experience, that's willing to accept a certain role, we're open to adding a guy too. I think we're open-minded, but we also like where we're at.
just to follow up on what Tarek asked, if junior leagues are playing, if the OHL is playing, would junior eligible players be eligible to be on the taxi squad?
In my understanding, it is, yes.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, if you have a question, please use the raise hand option and let me know. We'll go to Mike Vogel with Washington Caps.
Hey, Mac, I'm going to follow up on Tarek's question as well. I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts on the optimal makeup of taxi squad in terms of, number of players, number of forwards, and such. And knowing too that, in a perfect world, those guys will just be traveling and practicing, and not sure, impacts on not only their development, but also trickling down in the organization to the Hershey and South Carolina situations.
Yeah, I think it's open for discussion with the coaches. All of those things you brought up, folks. Obviously, you don't want young guys not playing and sitting on a taxi squad for the whole year. If there's availability for them to play somewhere else, I think it would hurt their development. And then also, if there's not an ability for them to play, it might be beneficial for them to be on the taxi squad. I think we're going to balance development. We're going to balance what the coaches feel we need roster-wise. And also, you can change your taxi squad as you go, too. I think, you can rotate guys in and out. So there's a flexibility there that, we might take advantage of too. I think it's going to be based on what the coaches think we need and what's the right thing for development of players.
Thank you. We'll go to Ben Raby with Caps Radio 24/7.
Brian, another question on the goaltending. Samsonov may very well have carried the load even if Hank was here, but there certainly was a nice security blanket there. I'm curious moving forward what the confidence level is in Samsonov potentially being that undisputed number one and seemingly carrying the bulk of the workload this year.
Yeah, I think he's on track for it. Obviously he has something to prove to everybody. So far, he's given every indication that he can handle it, and this will be a step forward for him. I think it's going to be a lot different when you're the guy and you're not coming in behind the guy. So, I think he's a competitive guy. He's got the skill. He's got a good mental makeup. So all indications are that he could handle it, and it's going to be a leap in his development here this year.
Okay, we'll go back to Sam Powell with the Washington Post. Sam, please go ahead.
I'm just checking to see if any players have talked to you about opting out or if there's any other injuries on your team at this time.
Yeah, no injuries to report, and no indication of anybody opting out so far. It could happen, I guess, before camp, but right now it looks like nobody is.
Thanks.
Okay, Michael Dreykus with Post Media.
Hi, Brian. Just another goaltending question. I was just noticing that Samsonov is about the same age as Braden Holtby was when Braden became a full-time starter. Does that give you confidence? And just as a follow-up, has your phone sort of been buzzing with any sort of trade chatter since the news regarding Hank came out?
No, I think Samsonov is I think he's got good experience, and he's like you say, he's where Holtby started too. He probably didn't have as much games in North America as Holtby, but I think he's ready for this, and it'll be a good challenge. And like I said before, I think he'll do well with it. I think the trade chatter is normal. There's free agents out there still looking for work, and I think it's a normal level of talk about trades and free agents that I don't think it picked up when Henrik left.
We'll go to Mike Vogel, Caps.com.
Mac, to get back to the schedule just a little bit, it's pretty unique, and it may be more unique than a lot of us were expecting. But it seems like there's some benefits and some challenges, both in the way it lays out and plays out. Just wondering what you think that the benefits and the challenges are, and how much do you see Peter Laviolette relying on the institutional knowledge of the assistant coaches that are here early on in the season, not having the benefit of any preseason games and such, and an abbreviated training camp as well?
Yeah, we have an experienced coaching staff. Peter's got a lot of games, Kevin's got a lot of games, and our internal guys, Scotty Arneal and Foz, all have a lot of experience. I think, the back-to-back situation, more like baseball, where you're playing a game, you're playing the same team twice in a row. I think it's going to be different. You're going to do a lot of prep, and then you're going to have a very good knowledge of where a team's at after you play that first game. So I would think experienced coaching staff can you'd benefit from that in those situations. The ability to adjust, the ability to tweak game plans. I think that would be beneficial for us there. I think back-to-backs with no travel is going to be probably a little bit better. The fatigue shouldn't be as much with some of the travel we do. And then just the routines are going to change here. It's going to be somewhat like the bubble, where you're secluded and not active when you're not around the rink. So it's going to be a challenge mentally for players to get through that, and go to the games mentally prepared.
Thanks.
Tarek Al-Bashir, The Athletic.
Matt, where do things stand with Alex Ovechkin and talks on an extension?
I think it's status quo. Once we get to camp, hopefully we have time or space to get together, and we'll go from there. I mean, we want Alex coming back, and we said all along we talk the beginning of the year, and hopefully we get a chance to do that during camp.
Okay, looks like our last question is coming from Tom Galletti with NHL.com.
Mark kind of took my question, but I'll ask you: is your intention for Lundqvist to go on LTIR? Is there another option there with his contract because he didn't play any games, or what's this?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple options. We've kind of wanted to give his side some time here to process what's going on. I mean, I think we'll, maybe this week or sometime before camp, we'll touch base with their group and see what they're thinking. But there's a couple options to do it.
Is he definitely not going to be able to play at all this season?
Yeah, I would make that assumption, yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Merry Christmas.
Same to you.